So, welcome everybody back to the cave. Rich and Jan is with me again, and we are talking about the comment section. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
No.
And we're talking about for branded content, so for brands, for businesses that are running content, how can they use the comment section to their benefit?
Yeah.
Let's just establish the types of comments you can get.
Okay.
You can get positive comments, which obviously are great. You can
Everyone
get
straight away thought just the bad ones, though, right?
Yeah, that's what I
you
was
can
assuming.
get positive ones. You can get constructive ones, and you can get trolls, which are the bad ones. So comments sometimes are just a great thing.
Yeah, comments are great.
They are great. Well, they're positive. But I think, as you say, everyone's thinking of the bad ones.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
sorry.
let's talk about the good ones first. I mean, you say you get comments, but then you also get useful comments.
Yeah, that's the constructive criticism kind of ones, which are good to have.
So give us an example of how that helps us.
Well, one comment is just an opinion, but multiple comments saying the same thing is a signal.
Okay.
So if there's many, many people commenting the same thing, and it doesn't have to be negative, it can be positive, do more of that or do less of that. Take it to heart.
And I think specifically, if I can just rewind a little bit, one of the things we are always looking for as businesses is engagement, right?
Yeah.
So why is it that when we talk about comments, everyone suddenly feels like engagement is this terrible thing?
Yeah.
It's not. Engagement is great. Obviously, we don't want to get trolled, but engagement is a good thing. And it's why we always suggest to people that you ask your audience questions. So engagement is not a one-way street. So as the person developing the content, whether it's static or podcast content, you're asking your audience a question. They are then going to respond. When that happens, everyone should be high-fiving. It's wonderful. So if your comment section is busy, you have done your job really well.
Okay.
Of course, there's that element of the negativity, and then I think there's a lot of solutions for that.
I was about to ask, what do we do when we're consistently getting trolled? And let's clarify it. It's not us. It's them, right? It's somebody that's obviously got an issue with something we're doing.
Yes. So I think there's a difference, first of all, between feedback that's negative, but potentially it's a critique. So, for example, if someone comments, great podcast, but your episodes are really just so long.
Yeah, that's good.
That is, something that some people might say, well, this is a negative comment. I think there is an element of us having to separate ourselves emotionally and personally from our content, which is difficult to do. It's not something that's easy. I don't say that casually. But there's that kind of commentary. And then there's the stuff that's just pure indiscriminate hatred. That's the kind of stuff that you need to have tactics around. And those are the kinds of comments that you want to try and deal with. The other ones, the ones where they're giving you feedback, you mustn't run away
the
from
feedback,
those.
like a great podcast, but it's quite
Just
long.
too long.
Again, if there's just one, that's just that guy's opinion. But if everyone's saying that, maybe it is too long.
Maybe it is.
But an example of a troll or like a hater comment is like, you sound dumb, or you look stupid on camera, or
Your head's too big.
Your head's too big, or just go home, hate from Germany, those sorts of things.
What do you do with that stuff? Do you just ignore it?
You should.
Can you block them?
Different platforms have different methods of dealing with it. If it's just pure hate, it's up to you whether you want to block it or not. But if it's criticism or something, the best thing as a brand specifically is to politely deal with it. And, even really, they want emotional response.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
So even just thank you so much for your comment. See you on the next episode or something like that.
So some people are really good at kind of like the sarcastic response.
Yeah.
But I would say that should be use that with caution.
Left to James Blunt.
Yeah. Well, he's a great example. Yeah. Okay. But now that's like spiraled into its own genre, really. really, when it comes to trolling, the best is just to ignore it.
Okay.
Because a lot of it is indiscriminate. So it's actually not about you. Creators, YouTubers, podcast channels, they are not necessarily attacked on a personal level. It's just comments are being strewn across the platform indiscriminately. So although it's hard, again, to not take it personally, you really shouldn't. And it's best to just ignore it, because if you don't feed the troll, it goes away.
All right. That's nice.
90% of the time.
90%.
90% of the time, not all the time.
Little disclaimer over there.
yeah,
We're not
small
responsible for
disclaimer.
anything.
Yeah.
But
yes.
yeah, that's cool. I like that. So we can ignore it. We must embrace negative feedback, positive feedback, use it, and improve our content.
Yeah.
When we say ignore the trolls, it's super important. You're never going to please everybody all the time. You should try find a niche with your podcast, and a niche by very definition it's quite a focused group. So anyone outside of that group, don't worry what they think.
Okay.
Keep your path. Don't try and change your content to please more people that essentially you don't care about anyway.
That's a very good point.
So stay true
To who you
to
are.
who you are.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Ignore the
I know.
trolls and stay true to who you
Yeah,
are.
stay true.
Amazing. Okay, cool.
Aim
Then,
for the moon, even if you miss your land amongst the stars. That's what I was saying.
okay. Before we get a lot more comments than what we're asking for,
Yeah.
so who manages comments? We've got you've got a podcast, you've got 500,000 people commenting.
Well done.
What? No, I'm saying say.
You
What do you
won.
do? I mean,
Yes.
surely that's running this kind of stuff specifically for a business needs to be handled by a
It's a lot of
professional.
work.
So how is that done?
Well, first of all, and I might sound like a broken record here, the more comments you are getting is a real sign of you doing something right. It's the same with your social media platforms. The bigger the community, the more engagement that's happening, the more work you have, yes, but that's just a wonderful problem to have. It's a sign of an engaged community. So a community that's actually interested in what you have to say. And so that's a fantastic problem.
Or disagrees with you heavily?
It could be. And, we can unpack that separately. But yes, someone does need to manage it. It doesn't have to necessarily be outsourced. So having an agency handle your comment section is absolutely a possibility, but it doesn't have to be managed externally from the company. It's going to depend on the size of their marketing team and their communications team. So if they do have someone in-house that is close to the business, we actually generally recommend that's the first thing you try.
Okay.
And the reason
why is that? Just because they know the brand voice? and they know
exactly. So they know the business, and probably if they're specifically when there's technical questions asked. So if the comment section is busy and there's a lot of technical dialogue happening, then you want someone who can answer those questions well and quickly.
Yeah.
And so having that person in-house makes a lot of sense and obviously costs a lot less. If that's not possible and you've got an agency or an external person moderating, then you can do that. But then you need to make sure that within the business there's someone that person can be in contact with for the more technical questions.
And how quickly do you need to respond to comments?
Rule of thumb is as quickly as possible.
Okay. But it's not something where you need to have a staff member on standby overnight.
No, and I think you can set expectations around this
Okay.
really easily. Different platforms are going to have different needs. So X, for example, is a very fast-moving platform.
Sure.
Comments there are happening all the time. I think that people have sort of lower expectations the bigger the business.
Okay.
So, the guidelines can set that, you can expect an answer from us within business hours, or we really try hard to respond to every inquiry within 24 hours, or you can set those in your community guidelines. But rule of thumb is you want to answer people as quickly as possible, because that is what it's about when you're a business. It is a service that you're offering in responding to your customers. It's like, having a phone on the desk that you don't answer.
Yeah.
Why would you?
And what about, you see this a lot, especially in like the services kind of industry, where you've got a disgruntled customer who's probably rightly so disgruntled with the service. I mean, businesses don't get it right 100% of the time. And what I see often happen is the brand will come on and say, so sorry to hear you've had this bad experience. Will you please email us? So in other words, offloading the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, let's take this offline. Is that the right thing to do?
It is. Okay, but I've got some more structure there that I would recommend. We have a really good format for responding to negative feedback in an online space. So that could be on your channel, or it could be on a social media post, or anywhere online. Those steps are, first of all, thank the person for letting you know.
Don't be rude.
And and also, I think that businesses really forget that if they don't listen, they are going to carry on making the same mistakes. So the fact that the customer has brought it to your attention directly to you, via your social channel, that's still better than telling 10 people at the bra they go to this weekend, or other online complaint portals. Those are the other options they have, right? So then bringing it to you directly, I think, is great. You know about it, you can sort it out. And two, they've brought it to your attention directly. So thank you. Then apologize. That's, very important. And do it in such a way that is genuine.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know, and we are so sorry that this has occurred. This is not how we do business. This is not how we want our customers to feel. And please let us help you and let us sort this out for you. So thank you and sorry. Then you want to ask them to please give you some more information, and typically taking that offline is a way for you to allow for the details of the scenario to be dealt with just that person.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I generally recommend to our clients, don't ask them to do another thing, but you do want to get their contact information so that you can then handle it offline. And you don't want them to necessarily share that private information on a public platform. So you're not going to ask them to send you a detailed story on email, but just give us your email address or your phone number, DM that to us so we can get hold of you if you don't have that information yourself. Then handle it, and handle it really well. And then come back to the thread and publicly share with everyone who's watching popcorn.
Yeah, we're waiting for the drama.
Exactly. Go back to the platform and publicly explain that you have resolved that. Thanks again for letting us resolve that. And you've wrapped that up in a nice, neat bow.
Yeah.
If you can get that right, you come away as the brand looking great, where you could have potentially looked really terrible if you'd ignored it, or worse, hidden that comment.
Yeah.
Someone has screenshot that.
Yeah.
We see that often, unfortunately. People try and hide the complaint.
Okay.
Don't do that.
And don't blame the customer.
Oh,
No,
for
that
crying
is
out
nothing
loud.
makes me cringe more than
Yeah.
someone like a business owner fighting with the customer on social media. Well, you said this, and that's just not
Terrible.
But yeah, to Jan's point, you can turn someone complaining or something into a positive by just dealing with it really well and just leaving everyone who reads that like, they dealt with this well.
In fact, I've seen it in some cases where the whingy customer ends up looking worse than the brand.
Yeah.
Because the business handles it well. And in particular, if the customer is rude, uses terrible language, is just in general obnoxious, and then the business responds politely and with genuine sorrow for the problem,
Yeah.
the person doing the complaining ends up
Seeming silly.
seeming a little silly.
Yeah.
So this is honestly one of the biggest hurdles for businesses that have never been on social media or have never posted anything on YouTube or started a podcast or anything. A lot of businesses have this terrible fear that people are going to say horrible things about them online. And, I think getting the understanding to occur that potentially people are already saying horrible things about you online. It's happening already, but now you can actually participate in that conversation.
Yeah.
And isn't that really the ideal? Traditional media never allowed for that.
Yeah, and I suppose that's why we're afraid of it, right, as businesses.
Yeah.
Because if that happened in a newspaper, we would be horrified.
Yeah.
So when we see it on social media, we're horrified. But it's a new world, and we just need to embrace it and engage with our customers. And like you say, it's actually an opportunity.
It is an opportunity. There's also this like expectation, weirdly, that people have that like you're going to post one thing on social media and trolls are just going to come out and just tear you to shreds immediately. It's like you're quite lucky if you get lots of engagement on posts. So it is, like I say, it's what you're striving for, not just in terms of like, looking good and having good performing social posts. You actually get rewarded by the platforms for having engaging content.
Yeah.
That's why you hear every YouTuber saying, comment below and that sort of thing.
Smash it.
You smash the like button, whatever. It's because YouTube is going to favor that content. So, but yeah, like I say, you're not. It's amazing to get comments and feedback, and trolls are few and far between. They're there.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of their content and stuff because we typically get served very, very popular videos and that sort of thing. But your business podcast is not going to be trolled.
No.
Okay.
I do also think, the platform that you have selected to participate on, so if we're talking social media in general, there are varying degrees of, the kind of mentality of the people that are on those platforms. So, you could potentially choose more lower risk platforms. And then I think if you are struggling and, if there is a lot of negative commentary or a lot of trolling happening, then you can start taking greater steps towards either holding comments in review and manually reviewing your comments, which is a possibility on YouTube. So you have to actually review and approve each comment, which can be very time consuming, of course. So, there's always the give and take. But if you don't get a huge amount of comments, but you find that the ones that you do get are really quite terrible, maybe you should think about your content, but also, just put them in review and you can then allow those that you want to go through. And then, of course, you could also turn off comments. But really, at the end of the day, what is the point?
It always seems fishy when people do that too. I'm like, why have you turned comments off?
Yeah, and I just think, the whole point of social media is that first word.
Yeah.
It's social. If you think back to times when we had print media, televisions, out of home, if you drive past a billboard and you want to give a comment to that brand, you're going to say it as you drive past the billboard. That brand doesn't know.
Yeah, phone customer care.
Yeah, exactly, phone customer care. Now you're going to post something and people have the opportunity to tell you what they think. And isn't that what you want?
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't be scared of the comment section.
Great. Well, thanks, guys. Really appreciate your opinions and comments. So let us know what you think about what we're doing. We will read every comment. We promise.